Hey, good morning, everybody. We got Jeff Fieldst, National Sales Director from Las Vegas, Nevada. And, Jeff has just done an amazing job of coming in and building a business. Started in Utah and built a lot of his hierarchy in Idaho and then moved to Nevada and is currently just tearing up. Has just promoted another RVP, has 4 diamonds in his ring. We're going to do a 2-part series. So we're going to talk this morning about the fundamentals. You win with fundamentals. So Jeff, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, thanks, Cheryl. I appreciate you having me on. And this is a presentation that I constantly do at my trainings just to get people good at the fundamentals, and it allows people to role play and really listen to it over and over and over, or go through a presentation over and over and over, and so they can know a few fundamental parts of our business. And so I'll get started. The first part of our business, I think, is prospecting, and there's a few different places to prospect, obviously. Number 1 is your warm market. That's the number 1 most important place to prospect. And number 2 is a new recruit's warm market. Number 3 is referrals. And number 4 is prospecting. And when I got to Las Vegas, the first 3 I did not have. I didn't have a warm market. I didn't have a new recruit because I was brand new there. And I didn't really have any referrals. So I had to go out and prospect and meet some new people. And when I moved to Boise, it was the same thing. And so I think somebody's got to get good at going out and about and just meeting people, making friends, figuring out what people do for a living. And so the way that I've always taught people to prospect out and about is the first thing you got to get good at is just asking people, can I ask you a question? And the reason why is if you go ask somebody and you say, can I ask you a question, everybody is going to say, yes, sure, you bet, whatever it may be, but everybody's going to have some form of yes to that question, can I ask you a question? So, let's say I was, walking into a store and somebody was walking out of a store, and I smile at them and say hi, or whatever, they say hi back. I just turn around and say, hey, excuse me, can I ask you a question? They say, sure. I say, are you from around here? They say, yeah, why, what's up? I say, well, you seem like a sharp guy. What do you do for work? And he'll tell me, maybe it's construction or whatever it may be. I say, really, do you plan on doing that for the rest of your life? Or if the money and position right, would you keep your options open? And he says, yeah, I might. Why, what's up? And I said, great, well, I don't have a whole lot of time right now. What was your name again? And I just introduced myself. I just tell him, hey, John, I have a business and I'm looking for some people. I don't have my schedule right now with me. But where's a number I can call you in 20 minutes or so? We'll set up a time. I'll sit down, show you what I'm doing, and see if we have a mutual interest. And I just look down at my phone, and I just wait for him to give me his number. So he gives me his number. I'll put on my number. I'll shake his hand. Hey, John, it was good to meet you. I'm going to call you in about 20 minutes, and we'll set up a time we can get together. And so it's really simple. When I call him back, that all I'm doing is calling him back and saying, hey, John, this is Jeff. Hey, I met you 20 minutes ago. When's the time we can get together? And I set it up. Now, what I've found out is about 50-50. 50% of the time, I'm going to get to John's home, right? Because my goal is to get to the kitchen table. So when I call him, I'm going to say, hey, John, who other yourself can be involved in making a career decision? She says, my wife. Great. What I would like to do is get together with the both of you guys. You guys can make a decision together. And I'm going to get to the kitchen table. Sometimes he's going to say, well, Jeff, I'd like to come to you, or can we meet somewhere else, or maybe I'd like to look at it first, or whatever he may say if I don't know. And that's fine. There's not a problem with that. So I'm going to set up an interview. So I do the interview, and I'm going to talk about how to do that interview here in a second. But just remember this always, that as you're prospecting, a form of prospecting is getting a new recruit off to a fast start, and that's the best way to get across kitchen tables. And as I do this training, whether it's prospecting or whatever it may be, everything we do in Primerica is to get across more kitchen tables. So just remember that the best way to get across more kitchen tables is to get a new recruit off to a fast start. And then the next best place is to prospect face-to-face or get referrals and set an interview or a kitchen table appointment from that interview or that referral or the whatever it may be, right? And another tip, as you're out prospecting face-to-face, look for people with wedding rings. And the reason why is you're out there prospecting, is you're out there meeting new people, if you're going to go out there and talk to somebody, get a name and a number, call them back, set an appointment, do an interview, get them to a kitchen table, you want to make sure that that time can be used to make money. And the people that need our products and services are people that have wedding rings on, or people that are married and got kids and those kind of things. Now, understand, when I got recruited, I did not have a wedding ring on, but remember, somebody brought me to a meeting. And so that's why if you're out prospecting face-to-face, look for wedding rings. And then that way when you go sit down and you do a kitchen table appointment and you recruit them at that kitchen table, you can also do an F&A, set up their game plan, and at least make money as you're going forward, because it's important to make money while you're building a business so you can stay in business. So that's prospecting, all right? So the next fundamental you got to get good at is, once you've got an interview set, is how do you get it to the kitchen table? Now, I would prefer to skip the interview. It doesn't always happen that way. So if you have to do an interview, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And so if I'm going to do an interview, my goal with that interview is, if they're qualified, so if they're married, they got kids, they own a home, those things, if they're qualified, my goal is to get to the kitchen table appointment. That's my goal. If they're not qualified, if they're single, they don't have a spouse, then my goal is to recruit them at the interview, okay? So let's get into it. So you guys have all seen the success system presentation. So this is it. And I'm not going to go through this portion of it, which is why I've got all 4 pages, here. I'm not going to go through, I've got all 4 pages here, but you can go watch the success system presentation on Primerica Online, or you can buy it from the company store, and you can watch me doing this portion of it. I believe it's even on YouTube under, Jeff Fieldst presentation or something like that. So you can get on there and watch it as well. And I would just suggest you watch it over and over and over and over until it's ingrained, until you could close your eyes and draw it out with a pen. You could rewrite every word that's on that presentation. And the reason why is because then you can make it you. Then it comes out right. You've got it so memorized that your personality comes out, because you're not just trying to think about what to say next. You already know. And so obviously you start with, the 3 reasons we're here, the financial challenges, who we are, the financial challenges, and then what's happening to people after turning 65 years old. And remember, as you're going through these things, that it's always a recruiting focus. We're in the business of recruiting and training people, not making sales to recruit people. We're in the business of recruiting and training people. And with that being said, as you're going through these things, you've got to have a recruiting mindset, that the reason why you're showing them how big Primerica is so that they know they could have a solid career here. The reason why you're showing them the financial challenges is so that they know that there's a giant market. I got to tell you, one of the things that I do say differently that they wouldn't let me put on that recorded video is I'll say, after I go through these third-party articles, I'll tell them, I say, look, let's say I was sitting down with Cheryl. I would say, hey, Cheryl, all these financial challenges, there are huge problems in the United States right now. So let me ask you, if you had a business that could solve every single one of these problems for all the middle-class families in our country, what kind of business would you have your hands on? And everybody says,
yeah.
Exactly. Everybody goes, man, it would be a gold mine. It would be incredible, all those kind of things. And I would just tell her, I would say, Cheryl, that's why we're growing so fast, is because we have all the solutions to all these problems. Our market is absolutely unlimited. Say, let me show you what these problems are causing. And then I'll show them what's going to happen from age 25 to 65. So once I do that, I go to the next page, okay? So once I get to the next page, this before and after page is very important. It's very important on how you explain this page. And again, you can go back. I'm going to explain it, but all this stuff I'm going to go through, I would suggest that you go watch the success system and watch it over and over and over 100 times plus, so that way you have it memorized. So I'd sit down and say, so Cheryl, so when we sat down with this family, Bob and Susan Smith, they were 35, 33, they had 2 kids. And before we sat down with them, Bob and Susan had $165,000 on their first mortgage loan balance. They were going to pay it off in 24 years. They had $13,000 on 3 credit cards they were going to pay off in 58 years. So when are they ever going to be out of debt? Never. So what we do is we enroll them in Primerica Debt Watchers. We create a FAST-Pay plan to eliminate all their credit card debt. We save them 4 years of their mortgage payments and $56,000 in total interest. So now we got them out of debt at age 55 versus never, and save them $56,000. So Cheryl, if you sat down with somebody and you get them out of debt at age 55 versus never and save them $56,000, how are they going to feel about you?
They're going to love me.
Exactly. They're going to love you. So you would feel great about doing that for somebody, right?
Yes.
So then what we did is we looked at their life insurance. Now, a lot of people that own personal life insurance, they usually own what's called cash value life insurance. And this is the way it works. Bob and Susan, they each had $150,000 in coverage on each of them. They were paying $298 a month. Now, the way it works, right, is it has life insurance with a savings program. So the problem is that, Cheryl, if Bob dies with $150,000 in coverage, is Susan going to be able to pay off $180,000 in debt with $150,000?
No.
Never, right? So why didn't they get more coverage? They probably couldn't afford it. Exactly. So why did they buy it? Because they have that savings program. So the agent made it sound good. He says you're going to get life insurance plus a savings program. But what he didn't tell Bob and Susan, that if Bob dies, Susan's only going to get one, the face amount, or the life insurance, or the savings, but she doesn't get both. So Cheryl, if you paid for 2 things your whole life and in the end you got one, what would you call that?
I call it robbery.
Exactly. That's what I tell everybody it is. It's legal robbery. So we just teach people to buy a term policy. We put $300,000 on Bob, $300,000 on Susan, $25,000 on the kids for $123 a month. So now if something happens to Bob, can Susan pay off $180,000 in debt with $300,000?
Sure.
No problem, right? Plus she'll have $120,000 left over to raise the kids, send them to college, do whatever she needs to do. And now we save them $175 a month that they can go invest somewhere else, right? So if you sat down with somebody and saved them $175 a month to get them twice the amount of coverage, is that going to be a pretty easy thing to do?
Sure.
Absolutely, right? So the next thing we did is sat down with them. They had no will. So we just set them up with a will, got them access to a respected full-service law firm for $25 a month. Then we looked at their auto and homeowners insurance. They were paying $243, and we just do a quick 10-minute referral phone call. We partner with the 20 largest companies in the United States, and we just find their niche market company, cut it down to $178, freeing up $65 a month. And the last thing we did is they had $20,000 in an IRA at the bank earning 3%, saving $100 a month. At the age of 65, they have $107,000. Now, are they ever going to retire $107,000?
No.
Never going to happen. So all we do is take their IRA and roll it in mutual funds. Now, mutual funds have averaged 10% for 30 to 70 years. Problem is, most middle-class Americans don't know where to get their hands on a good rate of return because these big investment firms, they ignore middle-class America because they don't get paid on accounts less than $250,000. So we just help them find that. Now we increase their savings to $300, which is the $175 we freed up here, plus the $65. And now at the age of 65, they'll have over $1 million versus $107,000. Is that incredible or what?
It's amazing.
So, Cheryl, if we were to sit down with somebody and they were going to have $107,000 and you put $1 million in their retirement, how are they going to feel about you?
Oh, they're going to love me.
They are, right? And how would you feel about yourself for doing that for people?
I feel great. I love it.
Feel great, right? So let me show you how we get paid, okay? So we teach people to start part-time with our company, Cheryl, but let's say A is $107,000 and B is $1 million. And it works just like that. And you sit down with 10 people. How many out of 10 are switching from A to B?
I would think all 10.
All 10, absolutely. So since we teach people to start part-time, and the reason why, Cheryl, is most people don't know anything about this as they're getting started, so we want them to come in here part-time. Their bills are paid at their job. They can learn it at their own pace. So let's say you started part-time, you showed that presentation to 10 people. Let's say 10 don't do business. Let's just say 5 do, which is very conservative. And it's not 5 in all areas. It's 5 in one area and 1 or 2 in the other area. The company would pay you $4,800. That's $1,000 a client. So Cheryl, if you made $1,000 a client, how many clients are you going to go help in a month?
I'm going to help as many as I can.
As many as you can, absolutely. So even if you just helped 2 a month, or even if you just did half of that, Cheryl, you'd still make $2,600 a month. Is that incredible or what?
Yes.
So let me ask you, if you could potentially earn $20,000 to $40,000 a year part-time without jeopardizing your job, would that interest you?
Yes, it would, definitely.
Okay, great. Well, everybody says it sounds good, but they want to know what is the track record, okay? So what I would do is at this point, you guys saw, at this point, what you do is you go show the success with momentum, our track record of success with momentum, and then I usually show my first 2 years and Brandon Neal's first 2 years. And if you want to get that, you can get on jefffieldstead.com. It has Brandon's first 2 years, my first 2 years, Casey Smith's first 2 years. I just like to show them some track records of success. And so that's what I do at that point. But my goal at this point, I'm going to assume Cheryl is married. So let's say Cheryl is married. I'm going to sit down with I'm going to ask Cheryl at this point. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not going to show her anything else. If Cheryl is married, my goal is to get to the kitchen table. So I don't want to show her the 99 bucks. I just want to know if she's interested in making more money. If she says yes, I simply ask. Here's what I ask. I say, Cheryl, who other than yourself would be involved in making a career decision? She's
My spouse.
Say, my spouse. I say, great. Well, I'm assuming that you're the kind of people that make decisions based on all the facts, not partial facts. Would I be right in assuming that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then what I need to do is get together with the both of you so I can get you guys all the facts together, and that way you can make that informed decision together. So I have tonight, or would tomorrow night be better?
Well, tonight would be good.
Okay, great. So I have 6 or 8. Which would be better for you?
8 o'clock.
Okay, 8 o'clock. Great. What area of town do you live in?
I live down in Gilroy.
Okay, great. So what's your address? Oh, so I'm going to get her address, and I'm going to set that appointment, and I'm going to show up. That's it. Now I got to coach Cheryl on what to say to her spouse, because if I just let Cheryl go home and try to explain to her spouse exactly what she just saw, she is going to mess it all up for me. So think about this. I did all this work. I went out and prospected Cheryl. I got her name and number. I called her up and set an appointment. I did an interview. I set an appointment with her. Now, the worst thing you could do is just let somebody go home after you set that appointment, because she's going to go home and mess it all up. She's going to try to explain that that presentation to her spouse without having it in front of her, without having any information, and she's going to mess it up. And I don't want her to mess up all my work. So just like I would coach a new recruit on what to say, how to set an appointment, I'm going to coach Cheryl on what to say to keep the appointment. So here's what I'm going to say, Cheryl. If you go home and talk to your spouse and you try to explain everything you just saw, it's not going to come out right, and they're not going to want to meet with us. So what I want you to say is very simple, and then let me do the explaining so that way it comes out right, and then you guys can ask the questions together. But you've only seen it once, so I've done this 1,000 times. So you're not going to be able to explain it like I've explained it, okay? So what I want you to say to your spouse is, hey, I know a guy looking for a business partner, and they're coming over tonight at 6 or whenever it is, right, tomorrow night, to show us exactly what they're looking for and exactly what I'd be doing. So I set it up for both of us to be there at 6 p.m. tomorrow night, okay? And so I'm going to role play this with Cheryl. So we set it up tonight at 8. So I'm going to role play. I'm saying, so Cheryl, all you're going to say is, you know a guy looking for a business partner coming over tonight, show us exactly what they're looking for, exactly what you'd be doing, set it up for both of you to be there at 6 o'clock tonight, okay? Say, okay. So I'm going to role play with her. I'm going to have her do it a few times. I'm going to do it a few times. She's going to do it a few times. I'm going to do it a few times. So that way when she goes home, she can walk in, talk to her spouse, and know a guy looking for a business partner coming over tonight, show us what he's looking for, what he'd be doing, or what I'd be doing. And I set it up for tonight at 8 o'clock. He's coming over, and that's it. That's all. So then her spouse isn't going to say, so what are they looking for? Because she already said, that's what I'm coming over for. What are they going to be doing? And that's exactly what he's coming over to show me. So if she's single, let's assume Cheryl's single, and I went through. Now, if she was single, I would have gone through the entire presentation. But again, I'm out prospecting, and the reason why I don't go all the way through right here is because if I'm out prospecting, my goal is to prospect somebody with a wedding ring. But let's say for some reason she's single, I would go all the way through the presentation to the portion where you get their IBA and you explain how to get started. And let's say I get to the end and she says, well, I want some more information. And so if she's single, I'm just going to invite her down to the op meeting. I'm going to say, great. Is there anything you can't get out of Thursday night at 7 p.m. for about an hour? She goes, no. I go, great. Since there's nothing you can't get out of, Cheryl, then I need you to be in my office at 7 p.m. Thursday night. Now, here's the thing, is I'm going to have a seat saved for you with your name on a list, so can you promise me you'll be there? She says, yeah. I go, now, you're a woman of your word, right? She says, yes. I go, okay, then I will see you there Thursday night at 7 p.m. Here's the address. And I get that confirmed invite, all right? So on to the next one, how to get an IVA at the kitchen table, okay? So one of the things I tell people, now if you notice, as I was going through the interview, if you watch the success system, the thing that I do not do at an interview is I don't do tie downs. And I'll explain that here in a second. But at a kitchen table, I'm tying them down. Okay, so I'm going to get tie downs at a kitchen table. It's very, very important you know the difference. At an interview, it's pointless because both decision makers aren't present. So doing a tie down is irrelevant. There's no reason to. So you're just wasting your time, wasting your energy. At a kitchen table, it's very important to do tie downs because both decision makers are present. Okay, so same thing with the presentation. I'm at the kitchen table with husband and wife, and I'm at that kitchen table. Let's say I'm training. Let's say now I'm there and I'm training Cheryl. So let's say if I'm training Cheryl on the way to the appointment, there's a couple things I'm going to do because now we're at the kitchen table. So I'm on my way to this kitchen table appointment, and preferably Cheryl's riding with me to the appointment because I want to talk to her on the way there. I want to talk to her on the way back. I want to talk to her about how big we're going to be, how we're going to dominate, do something huge. I'm going to figure out her goals and dreams and let her know that she's got what it takes. And then on the way back, we can talk about what happened at the appointment, why I did certain things, what's going to happen next time when we do the carryback, all that kind of stuff. Very, very important. And then I'm going to say, okay, Cheryl, so when we get there, I want you to just introduce me to your friend as a friend, business partner, whatever it may be, but never boss, manager. I'm not a boss or a manager, and I don't want them to think that's what I am. So I just want you to introduce me as a friend or a business partner. Okay, so you introduce me. Now, Cheryl, your only job is to get us to the kitchen table. If there's stuff on it, then I need you to clean this stuff off. If there's, whatever it is, it's your job. If they ask us to sit in the living room, you need to ask to sit at the kitchen table. It's your friend, so you got to get us to that kitchen table. Now, once we get to the kitchen table, after you've introduced me, I don't want you to say anything unless they ask you a question. So I just want you to pay attention to what I'm saying so you can learn what I'm saying. I don't want you to pay attention to what they're saying. Just pay attention to what I'm saying, okay? It's very important. So when we sit down, I just want you to listen, take notes, and don't talk, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to do the presentation. So I'm going to sit down, and when I sit down, let's say I'm sitting down with John and Mary. Cheryl takes me to see her friends, John and Mary, and I'm going to sit down with John and Mary. I'm going to say, hey, John and Mary, I just want to thank you for sitting down with us. I really appreciate your time, and I know Cheryl really appreciates it as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just ask you guys a few questions, get to know you guys a little bit. You guys get to know me a little bit. I'm going to tell you why we're here, and then I'm going to get into a presentation. Fair enough? You say, okay. And so what I do is I still use the Goals and Dreams page from our original F&A. And it says, what do you do for work, John? And what do you like about it? What do you dislike about it? What do you do for work, Mary? What do you like about it? What do you dislike about it? What are your goals and dreams? If you won the lottery, what would you do with the money? And so I'm going to figure out John and Mary's goals and dreams. Now, I have to know John and Mary's goals and dreams because my goal when I get to this kitchen table appointment is to recruit them. That is my 100% focus, is recruit John and Mary. So if my 100% focus is recruit John and Mary, I have to know their goals and dreams to recruit them because, listen, you guys, you never recruit somebody to Primerica. If you've been trying to, then you're making a mistake. You don't recruit people to Primerica. You recruit people away from what they're doing to their goals and dreams, to an opportunity that will allow them to hit their goals and dreams. And they're joining you because you can help them hit their goals and dreams. They're not joining Primerica. They're joining you. And everybody will join you if you know how to help them hit their goals and dreams. Let me tell you something. Everybody is recruitable. Everybody is recruitable. The question is, did we do a good enough job of showing them how they can get what they want out of Primerica? That's our job. So you have to know their goals and dreams before you start the presentation. So I figure out their goals and dreams. I talk about the 3 reasons why we're here. Number 1 is referrals. So John and Mary, I want to thank you for sitting down with us. I know Cheryl appreciates it because we get all of our clients through referrals. So if you like what you see tonight, we're going to ask you for referrals. Fair enough? And they say, okay. The second reason, if we can help your situation in any way, we'd love to earn your business as clients. And the third reason is we're expanding the area and we're looking for sharp people. And so you may or may not be interested, but you might know somebody who is. So I don't know, have you guys ever heard of Primerica before? And they're going to say yes or no. And so I'm going to go through these pages. Again, you can watch the success system. They're very simple. For the most part, you just read them. Okay. Remember, the only other thing that I do differently than what is recorded on the success system is I just ask them, John and Mary, if you had a business that could solve all of these issues for every middle-class family in the country, what would you have your hands on? And they always say, man, it would be incredible. It would be awesome. It would be a gold mine. That's what they always say. So now I'm going to go through this before and after example. Now, hopefully you notice the difference. Okay, so I'm going to sit down with them and say, so we sat down with this family, Bob and Susan. They were 35, 33. They had 2 kids. Now, before we sat down with them, Bob and Susan had $165,000 on the first mortgage. They're going to pay it off in 24 years. They had $13,000 on 3 credit cards that they were going to pay off in 58 years. So when are they ever going to be debt-free? Never.
Never. Yeah.
Right. So now what we do is we enroll them in Primerica's Debt Watchers. We create a fast pay plan to eliminate all our credit card debt, save 4 years of mortgage loan payments, and $56,000 in interest. And now we get them out of debt at the age of 55 versus never, and save them $56,000. Is that incredible?
Totally.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, I don't know you guys' current debt situation, but I'm guessing if we could help you pay off the current debt that you do have faster, that's something you'd be open to, wouldn't you?
Definitely.
Okay, great. So if you guys notice, that's a tie down. So that gives me permission to do an F&A input. Okay. So the next thing we did is look at their life insurance. I don't know, do you guys own any life insurance outside of work?
Yes.
Do you know what kind it is?
Well, it's life insurance. We've got it's got some insurance and some savings with it. I'm not sure what kind it is.
Okay, but does that will say add some savings where you can borrow from it or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, the reason I ask is because a lot of people that do have life insurance usually have that kind, which is called cash value life insurance. There's a lot of names for it: whole life, universal life, variable life. I'll have you grab your policies here in a second. But that's what this family had, is they had whole life insurance. And Bob had $150,000, Susan had $150,000. They were paying $298 a month. Now the problem is, if something happens to Bob, is Susan going to pay off $180,000 with $150,000 in coverage?
No.
No, but they probably couldn't afford more coverage. So
Right.
Why did they buy it? Because the agent tells them they're going to get life insurance plus a savings program, right? But what the agent doesn't tell them is that if something happens to Bob, Susan's either going to get the life insurance or the savings, but not both. So if I told you you paid for 2 things your entire life and in the end you get one, what would you call that?
I call it robbery.
Exactly. That's what we tell everybody, legal robbery. So we just teach people to buy a term policy. We put $300,000 on Bob, $300,000 on Susan, $25,000 on the kids for $123. So now if something happens to Bob, can Susan pay off $180,000 with $300,000 in coverage?
Yes.
Yeah, no problem, right? Push up $120,000 to raise the kids, send them to college, do whatever she needs to do. So now we got them double the coverage for $175 less per month, and they can take that and invest that somewhere else. So we'll look at yours here in just a second, okay?
Hey, Jeff, can you go back and do the same thing, and they don't have any life insurance?
Yes, I can. So let's say I sit down with them and I say, okay, so do you guys have any life insurance outside of work?
No.
No. Okay, have you ever thought about getting it?
I don't, not really.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we can talk about that here in a second. So we sat down with this family. They had what's called cash value life insurance. Bob at $150,000, Susan at $150,000. So that's all I do. I just want to know where they're at.
Okay.
Because some
but
people,
you
like for
still
example,
do this. But you still do the same explanation.
yes, and the reason why is because some people have cash value agents in their family. Some people, their auto insurance guys talk to them about this great life insurance plan that has a savings program, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So even if that's in their mind, I want to beat it up and get that objection out of the way. I want them to get them thinking that that is the worst product ever sold, because it is.
Okay.
So, yes, I just want to real quickly explain. But I also subconsciously want to teach my agents to explain how horrible it is, so my agents remember how bad it sucks. And so then if they ever hear of anybody that has a cash value policy, they can simply, they can talk about that real quick. You know, you pay for two things, and in the end you get one. What would you call that? You know?
Right.
So subconsciously teaching my agents just to know that little objection always.
Right.
So I'll explain that. So then the next thing we do is look at their legal protection, which Bob and Susan, we sat down with them. They had no will. So we set them up what's called Primerica's Legal Protection Program. And we just set them up with a will and got them access to a respected full-service law firm for $25 a month. So now let's say a little kid's riding his bike through the yard, he falls and breaks his leg. They don't have to worry about somebody suing them for the nest egg they built up. You know. So the next thing we did is look at their auto and homeowners insurance. Now, a lot of people are very loyal to their auto insurance company, which makes no sense because there's no pricing built into loyalty. So Bob and Susan, they were paying $243 a month for their auto and homeowners insurance. So all we do is we get the top 20 largest companies in the United States, like Progressive, Travelers, Safeco, Esurance, those companies, and we find their niche market company. And by doing that, we're able to cut it down to $178 a month, freeing up $65 a month, which is incredible on somebody's auto insurance. Would you agree?
Yes. So
we'll see if we can save you some money here in a second, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So the last thing we did is look at their retirement. Now, Bob and Susan had $20,000 in an IRA at the bank earning 3%. They were saving $100 a month, and at the age of 65, they have $107,000. Well, are they ever going to retire at $107,000?
No.
No, they're going to work till they die. So what we do is we take their IRA and roll it over into mutual funds. Now, mutual funds have averaged 10% plus for 30 to 70 years. The problem is most people don't know where to get a good rate of return on their money because these big investment firms ignore middle-class Americans, because if you don't have $250,000, they don't get paid on the account. So we just help you find that good rate of return and increase their savings to $300, which is this $175 we freed up here, $65 we freed up here, plus the $100 they were already currently saving, and now at the age of 65, they have $1 million versus $107,000, which is incredible. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, if you sat down with somebody and they were in this situation, you're going to have $107,000, and you put $1 million in their pocket, how would they feel about you?
I think that they would love me.
And how would you feel about doing that for somebody?
I feel terrific. Yeah.
You would, right? So I'm going to show you real quick how we get paid. Now, here's the thing. You have two options at this point. Now, in the success system, I go from right here to doing the F&A. So I say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? And go into the F&A. Cheryl says a 10. Okay, go into the F&A. And I have some people that are recruiters. They love to recruit, and I love that. I love that they love to recruit, and I love to recruit. That's what I love about Primerica. And I'll be honest with you, I keep going, and I'm going to recruit Cheryl. So if I'm at this appointment with and I'm doing the appointment to Cheryl, I'm recruiting Cheryl. That's my goal. And the F&A is automatic. But some people in my organization, they really like doing the F&A first and recruiting second. I don't have an issue. I don't really care what you do. But I like to recruit. So I tell my people, you've got a choice. You can keep going, or you can read that question and go into the F&A. But right now, I'm going to go into recruiting just for sake of time and training purposes. So if you get to this question of on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? And they say 10. All you do, if you're going to do an F&A, you just go, great, let me ask you a few questions. Because you already got all the tie-downs. So you've already got permission. You don't need to ask to do an F&A.
Right.
I think that's a mistake a lot of people do is they ask, okay, would you like to do an F&A, or would you like to do a plan, or whatever they might do. But you don't need to. You already, that's the whole reason. So if you guys that are listening to this watch the success system, you master what I've said, you've mastered the tie-downs, you don't need to ask for permission. You already have psychologically through tie-downs. So just remember that. So I've asked Cheryl those questions. I'm just going to go and so let's say I'm going to recruit her. I say, okay, Cheryl, so we teach people to start part-time with our company. So first of all, I would over here I'm going to say, so let me show you how we get paid. So we teach people to start part-time with our company. Why? Because most people don't know anything about this. So we want them to come here, learn it at their own pace. Their bills are paid at their job, okay? So let's say you sat down and you showed this A and B example to 10 families. How many out of 10 are going to switch from A to B if it works just like that 10 out of 10 times? How many out of 10 are going to switch from A to B?
I would think 10.
All 10. So let's say all 10 don't. Let's just say 5 do, just half. And this is not 5 in all areas. It's 5 in one area and 1 or 2 in the other areas. The company will pay you $4,800 to help those 5 clients. That's $1,000 a client.
Wow.
So if you made $1,000 a client, how many clients are you going to help in a month?
Jeff, I would help as many as I could.
You would, right? So even if you just did half that show, that's $2,600 a month. Is that incredible or what?
Yes.
So let me ask you, if you could potentially earn $20,000 to $40,000 a year part-time without jeopardizing your job, would that interest you?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, a lot of people say, well, it sounds good, but what is your track record? And Cheryl, we have a phenomenal track record of success, but more importantly, we have momentum. See, our company's been around since 1977, and since that time, we've produced 5,300 people that make between $50,000 and $100,000 a year. But the most exciting part about that is just in the last 11 years, we've produced 2,800 of the 5,300 just in the last 11 years. So we've produced more than 50% of those in the last 11 years, more than the prior 25 years of being in business. Now, the most exciting number to me, Cheryl, is we have 2,562 people that make between $100,000 and $1 million a year. That's more than any other company in the world. We have more people that make a six-figure income than anybody. It doesn't matter if it's Microsoft or Google or whoever it may be. And that was an exciting thing to me when I got here because I said I have a better chance here than anywhere else. But the most exciting part is we produced 1,400 of those in the last 11 years. So again, more in the last 11 than the prior 25 years of being in business, which says we have a lot of what? Momentum. So I'll point my pen to that, and I'll try to get Cheryl to tell me we have momentum. And so I'll say, Cheryl, most companies have been cutting back, shrinking, cutting pay in the last 11 years. We've added 50% of our six-figure income earners. So let me show you what happened to me. And I'm going to go, and I don't have my track record here, but I have my track record on a sheet of paper, and I show them. I show them Brandon's first 2 years and my first 2 years. And I ask them at that point, I say, do you have any questions about anything that I've showed you tonight? They say no. So I come back and I say, well, let me ask you, after seeing all of this, what would interest you more? Starting your own part-time business, a complementary financial game plan, or both?
Both.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it takes to get started, and then we'll talk about the game plan here in a second. So obviously in our industry, Cheryl, you can get a license. There's some licensing involved. So as you're getting your license, the great thing about it is our company's going to pay for your licensing costs, okay? But there is a couple things that are required by you. The first thing you have to do is you have to fill out an independent business application with $99. Now let me explain to you what that $99 is for. First of all, there's a state licensing fee and an exam fee, which is about $250 that we're going to pay for. There's also a fingerprint and a background check, which we use the $99 to subsidize that up front to make sure we're not hiring felons. And then the last thing is there's a pre-licensing school that our company is going to pay for as well. So it's about $400 on average to get somebody licensed. Okay, you invest $99. The way it works is once you complete pre-licensing school, Cheryl, and you've helped 2 clients in your training, our company's going to give you $100 back, so there's no financial risk to you. Okay, so let me ask you, is that $99 an issue if we're going to pay $400 to get you licensed?
No.
No. Okay, great. After that, there's nothing required of you other than work. But there are some great tools, okay? The first thing is that for $25 a month, you set up Primerica Online, which is your online business support system. They're going to give you a cell phone discount from your cell phone provider, which is about $100 to $250 a year. We're going to set you up your own website, give you access to all the live and on-demand video training you could ever want. Pay for your investment license. We'll also give you Morningstar Financial Analyst software, which is about $6,000 a year in value. You pay $25 a month. It's totally optional, but you're probably going to want it, okay?
Yes.
The next thing is get off to a fast start. Our company is going to give you a bonus to get licensed, trained, and producing, okay? And the last thing is some keys to success. So the first thing is to submit your independent business application, $99, which you said you could do, right?
Yes.
So if you guys notice, what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to get yes momentum. So you'll have people that are good at Primerica that get good at tie downs. And one of the things I've noticed as I'm training people is they get good at tie downs with no answers. But I don't want to build no momentum. I'm trying to build yes momentum. So just remember as you're going through this, your tie downs, the answer should be yes. So it should be yes or okay or a positive, not no, because no is not a positive answer, okay? So as I'm closing, so this is the close, just make sure your tie downs have yes momentum, all right? So I would say, okay, so that's something you said you could do, right? She said yes.
Yes.
Okay, the next thing is show up to our training meetings, which are Thursday nights and Saturday mornings, which I'm guessing that's something you could do, or at least rearrange your schedule in the future to be able to do. Would I be right in assuming that?
Yes.
Okay, great. The next thing is attend pre-licensing school and get licensed, which is easy. That'll be no problem. The next thing is go on 10 to 15 training appointments with a field trainer so I can teach you how to do this. I'm not just going to send you out there. I'm going to take you out there. I'm going to teach you exactly what to do, okay?
Okay.
And then the next thing is we'll complete a financial needs analysis to get your family's financial game plan started, which we'll do here in just a second, okay?
All right.
Okay, great. So let me ask you, what would keep you from getting started?
Nothing.
Okay, great. So here's what's going to happen. All right, I'm going to get your application started, ask you some background questions. We'll get your background check started tonight, okay?
Okay.
Great. Do me a favor and grab your driver's license. So that's what I would do at that point. Now, once you've gotten their IBA, if you haven't, the first thing you do with them is you do their FNA and get their plan in place. That's the first thing you do. If you did their first appointment, okay, and you've already done their FNA input or whatever it may be, then you get them off to a fast start and you help them set appointments. Now, it's very, very, very important that you've done their FNA first. They have to. Now, my rule is I do not field train somebody that hasn't done their own FNA because even if they're like, I recruited this young girl. She's 18, 19 years old. She's tearing it up. She's got like 25 people on her team right now. And she doesn't need life insurance, whatever, but I still put together a game plan for her. We've set up some mutual funds and that kind of thing, called on her auto and home, and just to make sure. So, and then just 3 days ago, we're on an appointment, and somebody asked, they asked her, have you done this? And she goes, oh, yeah, absolutely. I got everything that I need. So I'm set up. And we did business with that client. But now can you imagine if she would have said, no, I haven't? You know, so I think it's very, very, very important that you do somebody's FNA first. They need to be their first appointment, their first appointment, needs to be their FNA. Now, here's a tip. If for some reason you recruited somebody and you haven't done their plan, it's very easy. All you do is call them up and you just say, hey, I would call Cheryl up and I would say, hey, Cheryl, how you doing?
Good.
Good, good. Hey, I just wanted to touch base with you. I wanted to get together, set up a game plan, and go through exactly what we're going to be doing when we get on appointments so you know exactly what it's going to look like, okay?
Okay.
So when's the time we can get together so I can show you what's going to happen as we get on appointments?
How about at lunch?
Okay, so I'm going to set that up with Cheryl. And I'm going to go sit down. So if Cheryl's married, I'm going to try to set it make sure where her spouse is there, okay? So I'm going to go sit down, and I'm going to do that whole presentation over again. And I'm going to go through the presentation like she's never seen it. I'm going to go through the FNA, and she'll probably say, well, I've seen this. I go, I know, but I'm going to show you exactly what's going to happen when we go on an appointment so you know exactly what to expect. And I'm going to go through it. She's already recruited, so I'm going to go straight into the FNA and show her exactly what it looks like. That's how you do it. Okay? So then the next thing is I'm going to get somebody off to a fast start. So as I get Cheryl off to a fast start, and I'm not going to do that today, but as I get Cheryl off to a fast start, I'm going to, next week, we'll do the second part of this because I've got one more slide to do, and then that's the time for this morning. But as I get Cheryl off to a fast start, the most important thing, if I recruit Cheryl at her home tonight, is I do not leave that home until I've got 5 kitchen table appointments set. Now, I don't think there could be a more important part of Primerica than that right there, because this company was built on recruiting the multiples, recruiting by multiplication. Now, if you turn 1 kitchen table appointment into an IBA and you leave with no appointment set, you can't possibly recruit the masses. But if you turn that 1 kitchen table appointment that you got an IBA into 5 more kitchen table appointments, and you go on those 5 kitchen table appointments and recruit 3 people and turn those into 5 kitchen table appointments, and that's 15. So you turn 1 kitchen table into 5 into 15. And you turn those 15 into 50 or 75, and then it becomes an unlimited amount of appointments you have to go on if you do a good job of getting that IBA and setting 5 kitchen table appointments with that new recruit. So the next part I'm going to show you is how to close. So once you're in the FNA, I'm not going to go through the whole FNA input, but how to close, okay? Because it's very, very important you learn how to close, you know, and get those commitments from somebody. And it's very simple. And so what you do, if you guys will notice, on this sheet, there are some little guides, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Very simple. There's 12 steps to closing. And I tell our people all the time, you're 12 steps away from mastering learning how to make $1 million a year, because all you need to do is do this 10 times a month and then teach 10 people to do this 10 times a month, and you're financially independent forever. You'll never have to worry about money again if you do this to 10 husband and wives a month and you teach 10 people to do this 10 times a month. It's easy, okay? So I'm not going to do the whole thing, but there's a commitment you get if you've ever seen the FNA input. You know that there's boxes on the other pages, and you just add them all up and put them here. And then maybe they had a monthly commitment as well. So all I'm going to do is up front, before I start, I'm going to say, okay, Cheryl, you guys said you could save an extra $200 a month. Is that something you still feel like you can do?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And then if we add up the money you were saving to your 401ks, your IRAs, what you're currently paying for your life insurance, that's $400. So if we had the $400 plus the $200 you said you could save, that's where I get the $600 from. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, today you're 35 and 33. You guys have young children. You got some debt. You got a mortgage. So loss of income will be devastating to your family. Would you agree?
Yes.
So in order to protect what would be devastating, Cheryl, we're going to put $300,000 on you, $300,000 on your spouse, $25,000 on the kids for $123. We're going to take the $123 from the $600, leaves us $477 a month to invest. We're going to invest the $477 with the $20,000 you currently have saved, and now at the age of 65, you're going to have $1.4 million. So now your kids are grown, you have lower debt, your mortgage is paid, and all you need is your retirement income. You're now self-insured. So Cheryl, our concept is to keep the insurance separate from your savings, which is known as buy term and invest the difference. Okay, so let me ask you, just for the life insurance portion of that. So I'm going to get my pen and I'm going to circle the life insurance portion. So that's that red circle. I'm going to say, how does that look for both coverage and monthly premium amount when you say too high, too low, or perfect?
I think it looks perfect.
Okay, great. So then you're willing to budget $123 a month to properly protect your family?
Sure.
Okay, great. Well, unfortunately, life insurance isn't something you can just buy. It's something you have to qualify for medically. Have either of you ever had any challenges with your health, such as high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, anything like that?
No.
Okay, great. Well, underwriting process takes up to about 90 days. So in order to get the qualification process started, I just need to gather some information from you. Do me a favor and grab your driver's license, would you?
Yes.
She grabs her driver's license, and it's closed. That's it. So that is, so you think about what we just did there. You go out, you prospect, you set an interview, you take an interview to the kitchen table. Of Primerica, but I think if somebody learns, those are the most important parts of Primerica. The rest is just desire. So hopefully that helps this morning. I appreciate you having me on, Cheryl.
Hey, Jeff, the thing I'm excited about in going over this is that, I mean, you win with fundamentals, and that's exactly why we want to do this. You know, you win with fundamentals. And the thing that, in looking at this, that I want to make sure that everybody knows is that the majority of people that you have in your meeting come from kitchen tables, don't they?
Yep, exactly. Probably 98%.
Okay, so they've already seen the concept. They're much more open-minded. And you were telling me today that you had something like 120 people with 40 guests at your meeting last night.
Yes.
So in other words, then, what you're doing is working with a group of part-time and some full-time people who are doing kitchen tables, getting people invited, husband and wife, to the kitchen table. I mean, getting them invited to the opportunity meeting, and then just doing that over and over and over again.
Exactly. You know, I read a book called How to Build a Super Hierarchy, and in there, you know, they said you have to have a system where recruiting never stops. And I listened to Art Williams' CDs, and he said you have to have a system where recruiting never stops. And so I decided, I said, you know what? I love the op meeting. I mean, the most fun part of Primerica for me is the op meeting. I love it. I have so much fun. But it is not fun if somebody walks in and is skeptical and negative or whatever. So I said, you know what? I'm going to tell my people that I want to make a rule where nobody brings anybody. Now, there's always exceptions, but nobody brings anybody that has not seen the presentation first. That way, everybody that shows up knows exactly what they're coming to. So, I mean, we're a kitchen table business, so I said, okay, so the way you invite somebody is across the kitchen table. So if you grow your meeting attendance, it's because you got on more kitchen table appointments, which means you got on more kitchen table appointments, you closed more sales, you made more money, you recruited more people. So you get on more kitchen tables, you either recruit them at the kitchen table and bring them down to the meeting, which in my opinion is a guest, or you sit down, you show them a presentation, maybe you didn't get their IBA, they wanted more information, you invite them down to the meeting. Either way, they know exactly what they're coming to, they're positive, they know what they're there, they're excited, they love the environment, and then you'll recruit people after the meeting, and you set up more kitchen table appointments with that new recruit. So you set up more kitchen table appointments with that new recruit, you go on more kitchen tables, you invite more people to the meeting. You get more people to the meeting, you get more recruits. And it became this system where recruiting never stops. But the most important thing is I have a blast doing it. I love getting to the kitchen table because I love recruiting, I love building a team, and I love growing our meeting attendance because it really is what showcases our growth. So we don't get, I'll be honest with you, we don't get a lot of IBAs at the meeting. we get the majority of our IBAs across the kitchen table. We just lock people in with meetings, showcase the growth, lock in our concepts, our beliefs, opportunity, the crusade. We use the meeting to gather people together and use that to kind of build the army, to mobilize our army is what we use the meeting for.
Right. And I think also one of the most important parts of Primerica is not to tire of the repetition. This morning, just in this last hour presentation you've done, you went over that flip chart at least 3 times. You know, and I know that you do that over and over and over and over and over again. And I think that one of the things I just want to encourage people to do, it was exciting to me when I realized all I had to do was learn this presentation and do it over and over again. I didn't have to do something different every time. I could memorize something. It would be like singing a song that I liked, you know. And I think so we got to make sure that you don't tire of repetition. And then the other piece of that is that I think that the leaders cannot tire of training the same thing over and over and over. And if your people are saying, well, can we learn something new? Say, well, you know, once you're earning your promotions and growing your team and you have the fundamentals down, there are a lot of things we can learn. But if you don't know this, you know, I mean, this is the gold mine right here. It's just understanding how to present and how to close and how to recruit, how to get people in. And so I think those 2 points are important.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. And you know, I did a conference call for Hector. I guess it was a few years ago now, and you know, that's how I opened the call. I do this every week. So every single week, this is the presentation I use. I do a training. My op meetings are Thursday nights. I did my op meetings last night, and my op meeting ends at 9 o'clock, and I do a training from 9 o'clock to 10:30. Every Thursday night, and then we do a Saturday morning from 9 o'clock to noon. And every Thursday, every Saturday, I cover a section of this presentation. Every single week. I mean, don't change it. And I do. I have people, they come up to me and they'll say, Jeff, are you ever going to train on something else? And I'll ask them, I'll say, how many recruits did you get last week at the kitchen table? They say, none. I go, obviously don't know it yet. So we're going to keep learning it, you know?
Right. Right. Well, I love it, and we look forward to it. We'll get this posted at bartlettchampions.com. But, Jeff, we're excited, and thank you very much, and we'll be on with you next week.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks, Cheryl.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.